Salut, lovers of freedom. I'm Force Francois, French philosopher. I have traveled all the way from mighty Quebec to explain to you the nature of our enemy. You think to yourself, French philosopher, he will have a background in the philosophy behind the people that want to depose our civilization. And you're almost right. But it is something a little different. It is a literary critical movement. Let me explain. There was, at one point, the Marxist movement. The Marxist movement that failed. The Marxist movement had within it what is called the dialectic. The dialectic works simple. Thesis, antithesis, new thesis. New antithesis, new thesis, on down. This sounds like a fancy way of exploring a problem. And it is. However, it was utilized during the Soviet Union in such a way that they could depose their enemies and imprison anyone they want and decide who their enemies simply by playing word games. We do not want political revolutionaries. We want revolutionary politics. From the vague inference that distinction contains, false or otherwise, you could prove a point or pretend to. There could be the illusion of making a point. By the way, Anglos, I love you, but your wine is shit. So where does this come up with our opponents? Well, after the destruction of the Soviet Union, partly through the work of Solzhenitsyn with the Gulag Archipelago, which demonstrated how they destroyed their people systematically for nothing other than power. And that's always what that system of government will do. The people who still had faith in this system, because it propped them up in an otherwise normal society, artists mostly, were paying attention to the Frankfurt School. The Frankfurt School, people like Adorno, who would give rise to an already happening set of literary critical systems. I'm talking about that of Derrida, Foucault, Lacan. I'm talking about structuralism, post-structuralism, and of course, postmodernism, where nothing is true and everything is permitted. Strange how a greatly misconstrued Nazi slogan can be adopted for communistic means. These people decided to use deconstruction against the tenets of our society. Feminists went first, in the greatest outward thrust into the mainstream culture. And they said, men just want to fuck women. And it is true that men do want to fuck women. But that does not mean that men only want to fuck women. Men also love women. But if you say men just want to fuck women, and you try and think down to that level, you're stymied by the unbelievable stupidity of that blanket statement. And this is the trick that comes from the wordplay inspired through politics and developed through the literary critical movements that guide the ideology of the enemies of the West who live among us. Don't forget, it's the people who live here who are the enemies. And communists will weaponize their ability to ask such stupid questions that you cannot answer them, like, why do you hate the poor? They will use childish versions of very complex, or even just awkward, economic realities in order to gain a false moral foothold in our world. And so remember, when people behave as though you are being outsmarted, really what they're doing is using a word game to try and bamboozle you and take down your civilization, for which they have nothing to fill that vacuum, by the way, because they are empty and evil. And we are lovers of freedom. And I salute you, Anglos. I love you, even though your wine is shit. Bless you. Bless the West. And bless Freedom Force Talk Squad. Salut.